One of the questions from the audience is, are you alarmed that the health of our economy is dependent upon growth? The fourth prepared question from the committee was, what would you do this year to turn the tide in job creation? So, and then just for my own interest in context, where so much of our economy is dependent on the service industry, and Monterey County's agriculture notwithstanding, that the national economy, if you gaze into your crystal ball, think about job creation, think about the sectors of the economy that are doing poorly and those that have opportunities, what would you do as a member of Congress to spur economic development? Excuse me. And that's to you.
Specifically, there we go. Specifically, as a member of Congress, I would look back to the last time we had an economic situation similar to what we have now, which was the Great Depression. The Roosevelt policies were working. They were kind of capped off when this guy in Germany started a war. That really took us out of the Depression. But if it hadn't been for World War II, we still were being pulled out of the Depression, and those policies were working. You can see examples of how those policies still work today. Go to Pinnacles, you'll see things WPA workers did. There's a sidewalk in San Jose near the federal building stamped WPA. We're still benefiting from what happened in the 30s. It worked then and it'll work now.
Okay, that's to you, Congressman Farr. Job creation, economic development, and service sector.
Well, I've always been in that business since I've been in Congress in an elective office, and I think that the record is clear there. Obviously, creating a new university here at Forward Fort Ord, keeping the Naval Postgraduate School here rather than getting it BRAC, keeping the DLI rather than getting it BRAC. We have about 40,000 federal employees in Monterey County. We were able to get them the same locality pay as the San Francisco Bay Area, because it's a very costly area. That brought in about $40 million more. In fact, now the federal government in the 17th Congressional District is spending about $4.5 billion in this three counties. And I take a lot of pride in making sure that that's certainly a lot more money than is flowing out of this congressional district. So I think we're getting a return on investment. We don't stop here. We grow you grow what you have well. And I think the idea that the service industry, the tourism and agriculture is going to be downtrodden industry, just the opposite. There's management jobs, there's tech jobs, there's the spin-off. The brain trust for fresh fruits and vegetables in the United States and the world locates in Salinas Valley. It's not just growing there, they're growing in Mexico, Canada, all over the United States. Taylor Farms is one of the biggest growers of all in this area. So I think you grow the industry you have. We've got great tourism, we can make it better. We make it more regionally oriented. We bring people here. We bring them here because what we offer is the greatest outdoor experience anywhere in the United States. We offer reality rather than fantasy, and we got the e-ticket rides. So we grow with what we got, and we can employ a lot more people doing that.
That's to you.
To me?
Yes, it's to you.
Oh, okay. I'm having a tough time keeping up with the order.
You follow Congressman Farr every time.
Not for long. Tax incentives. Tax incentives is what drives jobs. Let me read a few quotes that were in the Carmel Pinecone this week. Our present tax system exerts too heavy a drag on growth, and it is a paradoxical truth that the soundest way to raise revenues in the long run is to cut rates now. Second quote, about a year later. The most important single thing we can do to stimulate investment in today's economy is to raise consumption by major reduction in individual income tax rates. Quote number 3, about 8 months later. A tax cut means higher family income and higher business profits and a balanced federal budget. Anybody know who spoke those words? John F. Kennedy, President of the United States. Even the Democrats sometimes get it right. A government that governs best governs least. Let's try. We have a significant, I feel that the biggest drag on our economy right now is consumer confidence. And this mortgage crisis that we're still in. And we're actually going into a double-dip mortgage crisis if the papers and the media are reporting it all properly. How about 4 for 40, 4% interest rate for 40 years to fix these people into their homes?
Okay. All right. So, talking about tax cuts, I think the tax cuts that were enacted in the I'm sorry. Please excuse me.
That's okay. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. I think, unfortunately, what Congressman Farr said reflects the problem. I don't believe that the government needs to be involved to create jobs. I believe the government needs to get out of the way to create jobs. The American people and the free market have been proven to be successful at creating jobs. If we have a market that can thrive, it will thrive if people don't get in the way, if the government does not get in the way with higher taxes and overregulation. So I would start with, the first thing that I would do is get rid of the health care bill. It's just... And if they're saying it's going to cost us $1 trillion, it's probably going to cost us $8 to $10 trillion. And I think this is the worst thing that will ever happen to this country if we let it continue. I think, again, I agree, lowering taxes is a useful thing to do. Just stop regulating. We need to create confidence. That's part of the problem in this country right now. We don't know what's going to happen next. Radical programs are being forced on us. Congress and the White House are not listening to us. Nobody has faith and is courageous enough, and I don't blame them, to invest in their business or a new business. So government needs to get out of the way and just let us do what we do well. And I think that will create jobs.